The story begins with a Chinese girl named Joan Wong, who stares at the walls of the USA plastered with posters of beautiful, attractive girls. Today is Jo's first day of school. Her father sings a song to ease her nervousness. But in class, the kids start making fun of her. When Joan opens her lunchbox, the kids pull disgusted faces. All of this leaves Joan deeply upset. That evening, she meets her father with a bright smile. He works as a cleaner at a school. She lies to him saying, "I made so many new friends in school." Her father has to work late, which means he won't be able to celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival with the family. So, Joan decides to stay back with him, and right there, she watches high school kids celebrating their prom night. In front of her, the prom queen is announced. Joan watches as everyone celebrates the crowning of the prom queen. Years later, Joan is obsessed with makeup. She watches an influencer's live stream where the girl reveals, "I just booked the lead role in a new TV show, so I won't be able to run for prom queen." Hearing this, Joan is overjoyed. She calls her friend, but she doesn't pick up. Joan then uses a filter that transforms her Chinese face into a completely white-tail-looking one. And right then, she receives a message from the filter's creator. "You are the top user of Ethnos filter, so you have qualified for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." After that, Joan's mom tells her, "Why do you wear so much makeup all the time? You are so beautiful without it." Her mom invites her to learn how to make dumplings together. She had learned this recipe from her own mother and wants to pass it on to Joan, but Joan shows no interest. She even takes her lunch to school and hands it over to her friend Brenda. Joan asks her, "Did you hear what that influencer said?" It meant she could actually win the prom queen title. But Brenda feels Joan doesn't need it. She thinks it's a waste of time. Just then, the influencer Olivia walks in. She's filming a video with her science teacher, revealing that she's launching a challenge called Feel the Burn to raise awareness about climate change. She donates $1,000 to her teacher's NGO as well, but she stops the video mid-shoot and tells the science teacher, "Give me better expressions. Show some tears." To be featured in Olivia's video, Joan runs over to she finds Olivia's challenge altruistic, but Binda calls it stupid and racist because how do you think this brown skin is going to burn like that? White girls. Binda can't stand Olivia, so Joan says, "Then help me beat her friends for prom queen." Joan already has a full plan ready. Binda agrees to back her. Joan doesn't even like their Chinese songs anymore. She's drifting far away from her own culture. She and her mom head to a big mansion. This is where her father works as a cleaner. Joan takes in just how wealthy these people are. But just then, her dad, Roger, accidentally breaks an expensive vase. The woman of the house calms herself down and says, "If this happens again, Roger will not be able to work here or for any of my friends ever again." Roger also has a cut on his hand, but he calls it a scratch and refuses to go to the hospital. They stitch it up at home themselves. Joan's dad tells her, "Because of this silly injury, I won't be able to work for a while. So, can you take over my cleaning duties for a while?" Joan reluctantly agrees. She has a dream. She's being announced as the prom queen, but in the mirror, she sees herself faceless holding a mop. Joan wakes up and receives another message from the filter company. Joan goes to school. She puts up posters for her campaign, but the posters are extremely plain. So, the graphic design genius Binda had already made her a better L-looking poster. But no student shows any interest in her posters. As Joan walks around, she notices that most from Queens are blonde, so she dyes her own hair blonde. Her family is shocked when they see it. Her mom gets upset, saying, "Your natural color was beautiful." Joan leaves for school. Her mom tells her, "Come straight home today. It's Lunar New Year. We'll make dumplings together." When Olivia sees Joan's hair, she says, "Nice hair." But Brenda finds it strange. She understands that Joan is trying to become like the other white girls. Olivia tells Joan, "If you're free, we're getting our nails done after school." But Olivia had only brought Joan along so she could speak Mandarin at the parlor and score them a local discount. The parlor woman only plans to give Joan the discount. Joan requests and gets everyone the discount. Right then, Joan asks Olivia, "Have you thought of endorsing someone for prom queen? Because whoever Olivia endorses will win for sure." But at that moment, Olivia's two other friends offer her gifts. So Olivia makes a video announcing, "I've decided to endorse one girl for prom queen, but who she'll be, I'll reveal in 1 week." Just then, Olivia's eyes land on Joan's black roots. And right at that moment, Joan gets a related message from the filter company. Get a free treatment for your black roots. Joan arrives at the address given. It's a shady-looking shop. Joan steps inside. A man inside already knows her name. He tells her to come further in. He opens a secret door. Joan asks, "What is this place?" The man replies, "A place where we help you reveal your true potential." Joan walks further in. The receptionist greets her by name and says the doctor will be with her shortly. On the TV, she watches interviews of countless people who had surgeries done here and completely changed their lives. Then Dr. Willie arrives and welcomes Joan. He plays an intro video for her. In the video, the doctor says, "Are you tired of the way white folks look at you?" The doctor reveals, "I was not always like this. I too suffered the injustice of being a person of color in this world. So, I realized that if you can't beat them, be them." They use a technology called ethnic modification to change skin pigmentation, an advanced cell growth technology to alter body and face features quickly and permanently with no pain. A person's voice also sounds different after the transformation. All of this sounds completely impossible to Joan, but the doctor insists it's absolutely possible. The receptionist has been transformed. The worker too, even the doctor himself has been transformed. After years of struggling and losing his promotion to a white man, he invented this technology along with 2 other doctors and launched this company. Joan asks, "So, how does this work?" The doctor explains, "The whole procedure takes about 2 hours. You pick the features you want, but I'll need a parental signature to proceed since you're a minor." For today, though, they'll give Joan a hair transplant absolutely free. After that, she can bring the signature and the deposit to get the full transformation done. Joan is seated and her hair transplant begins. Every strand of hair is removed from her scalp. She arrives home with her new hair, but the dinner table is already set with food. Her mom has left a note for her along with some cash. Hearing her come in, her mom gets up and walks over. Joan apologizes for being late. Her mom says it's okay. She notices Joan's different new look and wishes her a happy new year. The next day, Joan heads to her cleaning job. She has to clean up someone's puke. The house owner tells her, "I can give you the number of my hand doctor. He's doing some pro bono work." But Joan replies, "We're good." The owner then mentions that next week's cleaning is canceled as they're going on a little vacation to Peru. As Joan leaves her cleaning job, Olivia and her friends spot her. The next day, her campaign posters are vandalized with a cleaning mop drawn on them. Now, Joan has to get her parents' signatures somehow, so she lies to them about a field trip and gets them to sign the papers. Her mom looks at her with love and says, "Even with that ridiculous hair, you still look just like your father." But the very next day, Joan shows up for her full transformation. She's told to count backward from 20. Joan has a vision. A song is playing, "It's Good to Be White," along with all the perks of being white. When Joan regains consciousness and sees herself, tears stream down her face. On the way home, a little girl compliments her. Joan arrives at her house, but her parents don't recognize her. Joan says in Mandarin, "It's me." Her dad snaps, "Wrong house. Leave." But Joan starts sharing details only she could possibly know. Her family is stunned. Joan says, "I had surgery to look like this." But her dad says, "You are not my daughter." So Joan sings their Mandarin song to them. Joan knew her parents would freak out, so she brought them a surgery pamphlet as well. Her mom asks, "How is this possible?" Joan confesses that she lied to get their signatures. She says, "Can you at least be happy for me?" But her parents can't believe their eyes. They head straight to the ethnos office to confront the doctor. Dr. Willie meets with Joan, but Joan's mom demands, "Change it back." The doctor says, "The procedure is permanent. There's nothing I can do." Joan's mom starts crying. "One want my Chinese daughter." They refuse to give any refund. The doctor says, "You will come to understand how positive a change this is going to be for your daughter's life. Perhaps you both will get the surgery yourselves." The doctor even offers a family discount. Joan's parents begin to argue and they're thrown out of the office. Her mom yells at her, "Why did you do this? Being Chinese is what makes us special." Joan fires back. "Being Chinese is what makes me weak. Now I don't have to worry about people judging me wherever I go because of the way my eyes slant." Her parents are deeply hurt by her words. Her mom says, "You are going to pay for this mistake for the rest of your life." But Joan's reply is sharp. The only mistake was not doing it sooner. Her mom storms out in anger. Her father says, "I could look at you and see your grandma's eyes, but now I don't recognize my own daughter." The next day, Joan starts ignoring Brenda's calls. She stands in front of the mirror, admiring herself. But right then, a small piece of skin peels off her forehead. After that, Joan heads to school. She introduces herself as Jo Hunt, saying she's just moved here from California. This time, instead of mocking her, the boys actually talk to her properly. At lunch, she walks over to Olivia's group. Olivia asks, "What brings you here?" Jo replies, "My dad is a movie producer. He's shooting a show here." Olivia hasn't heard of him, but she pushes her other friends aside and seats Jo right next to her. Olivia tells her she's an actress. All these girls eat in a very specific way. So, Jo starts eating the same way, too. She's doing everything she can to get into Olivia's good books. Binda watches her as she drops her lunch straight into the dustbin. Jo asks Olivia, "What are you doing on Saturday?" She remembers that the rich house owner is leaving for Peru that day. So Jo says, "My parents are out of town this weekend." All of them gather there for a weekend party. There, Jo watches a boy dancing while other girls shower Olivia with gifts. She panics, worried that Olivia might end up endorsing one of them instead. Jo walks over to Olivia, but the other girls have her surrounded. So Jo tells some of the guys to spray the other girls with water. Jo rushes over to Olivia and says, "I have towels," but skin is still peeling off Jo's face. Olivia starts looking around the house. Meanwhile, Jo's mom keeps calling her phone. Olivia asks Jo, "What do you want to do in life?" Jo says, "I want to try being a musician, write my own songs." So Olivia tells her to write a song for her. Right then, Jo sings a terrible little song that goes, "Endorse me for prom queen." Olivia steps closer and says, "I know your secret," but she quickly changes the subject. She says, "Prove to me that you are trustworthy and you will get my endorsement." Right? Then Brenda figures out that Jo is actually Joan. She had even seen her lunchbox. She asks, "What the hell did you do?" She snatches Joan's phone and types in the password. The phone unlocks. Joan comes clean. Binda says, "I called you 100 times. I even came to your house." Joan hugs Binda and apologizes. But just then, noise breaks out from outside. Everyone had surrounded some black kids, demanding to know how they got into the party. Olivia tells Jo to make them leave. But one of those girls was actually Binda's friend. Binda says, "Jo is the one who invited us." Now Jo has to choose a side, and she chooses Olivia's side. She tells Brenda to leave. Binda's heart breaks. Then Olivia announces that she's endorsing Jo for prom queen. All the girls crowd around Jo, but when she gets home, her parents ask her where she's been all this time. Jo says, "I was at a friend's house, but the smell of smoke is coming off her." Her father tells her to hand over her phone. Jo argues, refusing to give it up. But her dad says, "You will get it back when you can be trusted." The next morning, when she wakes up and looks in the mirror, more skin is peeling off her face. Things are getting serious now. Jo covers it up with makeup. She starts hanging out with Olivia's group at school. She eats the way they do. Then the prom court voting results are announced. Jo's name is the last one to be called out. Olivia says on her live stream, "I got time off set to make a special appearance at Prompted Cheer for Jo." Binda watches Jo from a distance. Jo tries to talk to her. Binda says, "What you did to yourself makes me feel like you thought you were ugly. And maybe you thought I was ugly, too." Jo says, "No, it's not like that." But Brenda refuses to come to prom because it will just be another clone, winning. At the same time, Jo's condition starts getting worse. She goes to see the doctor, but the doctor isn't available. He's booked solid until next year. The receptionist takes one look at her and says, "This is a common side effect. Apply this cream, and this tape will help with the rest." So, Jo goes home and applies the cream. She uses the tape to lift the sagging skin on her face back up. She stops her mom from coming into the room, but her family calls her out and tells her that her father has been fired from his job. When the house owner found out that someone had used the security code to throw a party at her home, she fired every single worker who had access. Whoever it was had to have known the entire layout of her house. Joe's mom asks her, "Do you know anything about this?" "Because your dad told you the code and you knew she was going on a trip." Joe snaps, "I can't believe you would accuse me of something like this." Then she blurts out, "You should take this as a blessing. Now you can finally learn English and get a real job." The moment the words leave her mouth, she regrets them, but she starts getting ready for her prom night. Her parents see her all dressed up, but they don't react at all. They just ignore her. Joe asks, "What are we celebrating?" Her dad tells her, "It's our 10-year anniversary in America." Then he adds, "You look beautiful." Joe heads to prom. She dances with a boy. She kisses him, but right then the boy notices her face. Her face is starting to drop. Joe quickly tries to fix it with tape. Just then, Olivia shows up. She asks, "Are you okay?" She tells Joe, "Your old face fights back at first," meaning Olivia knows all about this surgery. She helps Joe fix her face with the tape. The prom queen announcement is moments away. Olivia and Joe rush over to the stage, and this year's prom queen turns out to be Joe. Her childhood dream has finally come true. She's overjoyed. But the moment she steps onto the stage and places the crown on her head, her face distorts horribly. It looks as if her face is melting. People start throwing up, and in all the chaos, Joe passes out. She wakes up inside a house. It's Olivia's. Joe looks at her face. Olivia says, "It will heal." Her father adds, "It always does, and it's not very often we meet a fellow ethnos enthusiast." They offer Joe dinner. Joe asks them what race they were before the surgery. They were Cuban, and Olivia's dad was one of the doctor's earliest customers. They ask her if her parents had the surgery. Joe says, "No." He says, "It's a shame because people who don't share the same ideologies, they will fade away." Olivia's mom hadn't gotten the surgery either, and that's exactly why she doesn't live with them today. Joe asks, "Don't you ever miss your old life?" Olivia's dad says, "Never." Joe goes home. Through the window, she sees her parents inside enjoying themselves. Her mom is shocked when she sees Joe's face. Joe walks in and hugs her. Her mom tells her, "When your father and I came to America, we knew we were and always would be Chinese, but you grew up here with a Chinese face. I can understand how confusing that must have been." Her father also tells her, "When I came here, I wanted to fit in, same as you, but then I realized that being American is not the goal. The goal is to become my own American, and you will find your own American too." The next day, they all go to Ethnos, where a huge crowd has gathered waiting for their surgeries. Joe says, "I need to see the doctor." But the moment security spots her, they throw her right out. The doctor comes out. Changing back is impossible. Joe says, "I am a monster." The doctor replies, "For a new plant to flourish, the seed has to die." So Joe goes home and begins tearing off her face. Discovering her original East Asian eyes underneath, she stares at them in the mirror and tears up, seemingly beginning to appreciate them for the first time. And friends, with that, this story comes to an end. Let us know in the comments how you liked this explanation.